Sunset Boulevard, Los Angeles. July 12, 1962. 6:47 p.m. 17-year-old Michael Castellano had been singing on the corner for 2 hours. His guitar case was open. $347. Inside, most of it from his own pocket. Money he put there to make it look like people were actually tipping. They weren't. Hundreds of people had walked past. Some looked, most didn't. A few laughed. "Give it up, kid. You're blocking the sidewalk. Get a real job." Michael kept singing. Anyway, that's Amore, Dean Martin's version, the one his dad played every Sunday morning. Before he died, Michael's voice cracked on the high note again. He'd been practicing for 6 months and still couldn't hit it right. He saw people smirking, whispering to each other. His face burned. Maybe they were right. Maybe he should give up. He was about to pack up the guitar when he heard it. Applause. Slow, steady. One person. Michael looked up. A man in sunglasses. Expensive suit, standing 15 feet away. Clapping. And then the man walked closer, took off his sunglasses, and smiled. Michael's heart stopped. That was Dean Martin. 3 months earlier, Michael Castellano's father died. Heart attack. 52 years old, gone in the middle of dinner. 1 minute he was laughing at something Michael's sister said. The next minute he was on the floor and the paramedics were saying, "I'm sorry." Anthony Castellano had been a plumber. Good man, hard worker. Never made much money, but always made sure his family had enough. He had one dream that didn't involve pipes and wrenches. He wanted to be a singer. Never happened. Life got in the way. Marriage, kids, bills, responsibilities. But every Sunday morning, Anthony would put on his Dean Martin records. That's Amore. Everybody loves somebody. Ain't that a kick in the head? He'd sing along. Loud, off-key, happy. Michael would watch his dad, this tough guy who spent his weeks fixing toilets and unclogging drains, turn into someone else, someone lighter, someone free. "Dad, you're terrible." Michael would joke. Anthony would grin. "I know, but I'm happy terrible. That's the trick. Mickey. Do what makes you happy terrible, instead of what makes you miserable." Good. Michael didn't understand that then. He understood it now. After the funeral, Michael found his dad's records. The Dean Martin collection. Scratched, played a lot, loved. He found something else too. A notebook hidden in a nonny's toolbox. Song lyrics, dozens of them written in his father's handwriting. Some were copies of Dean Martin songs. Others were originals. Rough, not finished, but honest. The last page had one sentence. "I ran out of time. Don't make my mistake." Michael stared at those words for an hour. Then he made a decision. He was going to sing. Michael had never performed before, never taken lessons, never even sung in front of people. But he bought a used guitar, taught himself 3 chords from a library book, practiced in his garage until his fingers bled. His mother didn't understand. "Mickey, we need money. Your father's insurance barely covered the funeral. You need to find a job." "I will, Ma, but I need to do this first." "Do what?" "Waste time with a guitar?" Dad wanted to sing. He never got the chance. "I'm taking his chance." His mother's eyes filled with tears. She didn't argue after that. Michael started small. Backyard parties, his sister's graduation, a church talent show where he came in last place. People were polite. That was nice, Michael, which meant that was bad, Michael. But Michael kept going because of that notebook. That sentence. Don't make my mistake. On July 12, 1962, Michael decided to try something bigger. Street performing. Sunset Boulevard, the heart of Hollywood. If he was going to do this, really do this, he needed to know if strangers would stop. If his voice could cut through the noise of the city. He set up at 4:30 p.m. corner of Sunset and Vine. Guitar case open. $3 of his own money inside. Psychology. People tip more if they see others have already tipped. And he started singing. The first hour was brutal. Michael sang 15 songs. His voice was shaky. His guitar was a little out of tune. His fingers hurt from pressing the strings. 0 tips from strangers. People walked by like he was invisible. Some were kind enough to ignore him. Others weren't. A group of teenagers laughed. Did you hear that? He sounds like a dying cat. An older woman stopped. Honey, maybe singing isn't for you. A businessman in a suit dropped a penny in his case. Buy yourself some talent, kid. Michael's face burned, but he kept singing because quitting meant his dad was right. The dreams die when responsibility shows up. Hour 2 was worse. Michael's voice started cracking. Tired, nervous, embarrassed. He was singing that's Amore, his dad's favorite, and he couldn't hit the high note. It came out flat, strained. A couple walking by laughed. Someone should put that kid out of his misery. Michael's eyes stung. Not from the sun, from shame. He looked down at his guitar case. $7 now. He'd added 5 more of his own money just to feel less pathetic. This was a mistake. He wasn't a singer. He was a plumber's son, pretending to be something he wasn't. Michael was about to pack up when he heard it. Applause. Michael looked up. A man 15 feet away, expensive suit, sunglasses, standing completely still, clapping slowly, on purpose. Michael's first thought, he's mocking me. But the man kept clapping, and then he walked closer, took off his sunglasses. Michael's breath caught that face. The one he'd seen on album covers in his father's collection. The one that smiled from movie posters and TV screens. Dean Martin. Dean stopped 3 feet from Michael, looked at the guitar case at $7 at Michael's red face and shaking hands. How long you been out here, kid? Michael's voice cracked. 2 hours. 2 hours and $7? That's rough. Michael didn't know what to say. Dean nodded at the guitar. You know, everybody loves somebody. Yeah, I know it. Play it. What? Play it. I want to hear how you do it. Michael's hands were shaking so badly he could barely hold the guitar. But he played. And this time, maybe because Dean Martin was standing 3 ft away, Michael's voice didn't crack. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't smooth, but it was honest. Dean listened, nodding a little. When Michael finished, Dean smiled. You're flat on the bridge and your G chord is off. But you've got something. I do? Yeah. You care. I can hear it. Most guys out here are just trying to make rent. You're trying to prove something. Michael looked down. My dad, he wanted to be a singer. Never got the chance. He died 3 months ago. Dean's expression changed. Something softened. What was his name? Anthony. Anthony Castellano. Dean was quiet for a moment. Then, Anthony Castellano. Good name for a singer. He loved your music. Played your records every Sunday. Dean nodded. Slowly. Then we're not going to let him down, are we? What? Dean set his sunglasses on Michael's guitar case. Rolled up his sleeves. Play that Amore again, But this time I'm singing with you. Michael stared. You want to sing here? Why not? You got a stage? You got an audience? Dean pointed at the sidewalk. Well, you will in about 10 seconds. Dean was right. The moment people saw Dean Martin standing on a street corner, everything stopped. Cars slowed. Pedestrians froze. Someone shouted, "Is that Dean Martin?" Within 30 seconds, a crowd formed. 20 people. Then 50, then 100. Michael's hands were shaking so badly he almost dropped the guitar. Dean leaned in. Quiet just between them. Kid, forget them. Just play for your old man. Pretend it's Sunday morning. He's in the kitchen. You're giving him the show he never got to give. Can you do that? Michael swallowed hard, nodded. Okay, from the top. And don't rush the tempo. Let it breathe. Michael played the opening chords and Dean Martin started singing. Right there on Sunset Boulevard. No microphone, no stage, just his voice. Pure, smooth, easy. The crowd went silent. Dean sang the first verse. Then he stopped, looked at Michael, nodded. Your turn. Michael's voice shook on the first line, but Dean didn't take over. Just kept singing harmony underneath. Supporting, guiding. By the second verse, Michael's voice got steady. By the chorus, he was actually singing, not performing, not pretending singing. The crowd started clapping along. When the song ended, Sunset Boulevard erupted. Applause, cheering, whistling. Michael stood there shocked. Dean grinned. Not bad, kid. You hit that high note clean. This time. The crowd pressed closer. People shouting questions. Dean. What are you doing here? Can you sign this? One more song. Dean ignored them. Turned to Michael. You got a pen? Michael fumbled in his pocket, handed Dean a pen. Dean picked up a napkin from someone's thrown-away lunch, wrote something, handed it to Michael. A phone number. That's my manager, Hank Santa. Call him tomorrow. Tell him I sent you. He'll set you up with a vocal coach. Real one, not some fake. Michael stared at the napkin. I can't afford. You're not paying. I am. Why? Dean put his sunglasses back on. Because 30 years ago, I was you. Steubenville, Ohio. Singing in bars for tips. Getting bottles thrown at me, and a guy named Sammy Watkins gave me a shot. Paid for my first real gig. Taught me how to breathe, how to hold a note, how to work a room. Dean paused. I never got to thank him. He died before I made it big. So, I'm thanking him by helping you. Michael's eyes filled with tears. Mr. Martin, Dean, call me Dean and stop crying. You'll scare off your audience. Dean was right. The crowd was still there waiting. Dean raised his voice. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Michael Castellano. He's going to keep playing. And I suggest you stick around. Kids got a future. Then Dean did something nobody expected. He reached into his pocket, pulled out his wallet, took out a $100 bill, and dropped it in Michael's guitar case. The crowd gasped. Then, one by one, people started tipping. 5s, 10s, 20s. Within 2 minutes, Michael's guitar case was overflowing. Dean walked to his car, stopped, turned back. Michael, one more thing. Yeah, your dad would be proud. And then Dean Martin got in his Cadillac and drove away. Michael stood there for 10 more minutes too overwhelmed to move. When he finally counted the money in his guitar case, $347. He called Dean's manager the next day. Hank Sanacola answered on the second ring. You must be the kid Dean told me about. Yes, sir. Be at Capitol Records. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. vocal coaches. Waiting. Michael showed up early. Nervous, terrified. The vocal coach, a woman named Marie Stevens, who'd trained half of Hollywood, listened to him sing. Once. Then she said, "You're raw, but you're coachable. We'll start with breath control." For the next 6 months, Michael trained 3 days a week free, paid for by Dean Martin. Dean never showed up to the sessions, never checked in, never asked for updates. But one day Marie mentioned casually, "Dean calls me once a month, asks how you're doing, never gives advice, just wants to know you're still working." Michael's throat tightened. Michael Castellano never became a superstar. He didn't sell millions of records, didn't headline Vegas, didn't become the next Dean Martin, but he had a career. He sang in clubs, small venues, weddings, cruise ships, opened for bigger acts. He made a living doing what his father never could. And every time Michael performed, every single time, he'd start with, "That's Amore," for his dad and for the man who stopped his car on Sunset Boulevard and gave a scared kid a chance. Dean Martin died in 1995, Christmas morning. Michael was 50 years old by then, still singing, still working. He didn't go to the funeral, didn't think he belonged. He'd only met Dean once, 12 minutes on a street corner. But he sent flowers with a note. "Michael, you told me my dad would be proud. You were wrong. He'd be grateful. Because of you, his dream didn't die with him. It lived through me. Thank you for stopping your car that day. Thank you for seeing me when nobody else did." Michael Castellano. 3 months later, Michael got a package. No return address, just his name. Inside a record final. Dean Martin's greatest hits. And a note handwritten Dean's handwriting. "Michael, I found this in my office. Thought you should have it. Keep singing for your old man. And when you're done, teach some scared kid how to hit that high note. That's how we say, thank you, Dean." The note was dated December 20th, 1995. 5 days before Dean died. Michael keeps that record in a frame on his wall next to his father's notebook. Two men who never met, but who both believed in the same thing. Dreams don't die. They just wait for someone brave enough to give them a voice. This story isn't about fame. It's about showing up for someone who's trying. Dean Martin was one of the biggest stars in the world. He didn't have to stop his car, didn't have to sing with a scared kid, didn't have to pay for vocal lessons or send encouraging notes or care about a stranger's dream. But he did because Dean remembered what it felt like to be laughed at, to be told he wasn't good enough, to sing for people who didn't listen. And when he saw that same fear in a 17-year-old kid on Sunset Boulevard, Dean didn't see failure. He saw potential. Not because Michael was talented, because Michael cared. And caring, real caring, is rarer than talent. Dean Martin stopped his car that day because someone once stopped for him. And Michael Castellano spent the rest of his life stopping for other scared kids. That's not charity. That's legacy. If this story moved you about kindness, legacy, and giving someone the chance you once needed, subscribe for more untold stories about legends who lifted others up. Drop a comment if someone ever believed in you when nobody else did. And remember, Dean Martin could have kept driving. He didn't. That choice changed a life. What choice will you make?